Hey everybody. So this problem I really, really like for sliding window, but the solution they give you, they kind of do a lot of ASCII math. And because you see here, like character code at right minus 97. Um, yeah, that's just, how you would calculate whether it's A or B or C. So the way they keep track of this is they make like an array, one for every letter of the alphabet, and then they keep track of the character codes that way. So that's a cool way to do it. I just thought I would use an object and then store whatever the pointer is pointing at and then sort of use a conditional statement to see how many of that. So it's kind of a frequency map. So I kind of made a frequency map plus I used a sliding window. So I think this covers both it's sort of a frequency map. Yeah, it kind of is. And sliding window. So let me just show you what the problem is and how I did. So the problem for this is you're gonna check um the maximum substring with two occurrences um of one letter, right? So here it's A, so the max is two because it's like there's two A's here, that's the max we can have the two. So but this one's a better example because as we go down, right, if we say BCB, that's three, but then we add this B that's a third B, that's more than two. So then we can't use that substring. So this is perfect for sliding window. I have this thing ready here. So the way this works is you're going to take two pointers, okay, and you're going to basically keep track of everything. So right here, we move this down, and then we can say in this object, we can keep track of, okay, we've got one B, okay, that's a B, and then one C. Okay, that's fine. So because we have one B and one C, we can keep moving this down. Okay, well now we have two Bs. And then you want to keep track of how big your window is. So I'll just type here window size. So size, right? And right now we see one, two, three, so three. Okay, so let's move this one down, right? Okay, well, uh-oh, now we had three, now we have three, right? Now we have, or we had two, and now we have three. So now, because this B is three now, um, we are now gonna have to move this pointer down. We're gonna have to move this pointer down, right? And so what happens is the size is three, right? So that's our max size. Okay, we move it down again and see, all right, well, the B is three, that's not allowed. So we move it down again. Okay, well, now the B is still three, that's not allowed. So we can move this one up, right? And then move this one. Okay, well now we have two B's. So let me just erase, I guess, and okay, that's fine. And so now we have two B's, which is fair game. So then we can then move this. And as you can see, this window is this is like a window that's sliding. And so here we have three B's. Oh man, well that's too much, right? So we are gonna have to move this down. We're back down to two B's. We're on size three. And then we move this pointer up and we see, okay, size is four, okay, and we have two B's. Oh man, it erases the whole thing. That's really annoying. But yeah, that's basically how it works. I mean, size here would be four, right? Because we see that so our result would be four. So we basically use two pointers to make a sliding window, and we're going to use an object to keep track of all of that. Instead of doing it this way, and then I'll kind of zoom in, but you see the implementation here is you make an array and with 26, and that kind of confused me. I think it's a little bit easier to just make like an empty object here. So I'm gonna make an empty object, okay, and then I'm gonna make a pointer that's gonna be like the one on the left, so like a slower pointer, right? Which in this one it would be the red one. The red one's gonna be the one that lags behind. Okay, and we're gonna make that equal zero, not an empty object, and then we're gonna say result is gonna be how big our window size is. Okay, so this right here, size, that would be the same as saying results. Okay, so that's the three things we got to keep track of at the beginning. And then to make the right one, we'll make that in the for loop because as soon as we're done looping, and this is why it's such a good method, right? Is because we're only going to have to check it once. We're only going to have to loop through it once. So that's very efficient. So right equals 0, and then right is less than the length of the string that they give us, right? And then right plus plus. Okay, so that should be pretty easy right now, but that basically creates this scenario, right? And then if you're not sure what a for loop is, all you're saying right here is you're saying for I equals 0. Dang it, I'm trying to grab this. For I equals 0. So you're saying, hey, we're starting at the first iteration of this array. We're gonna stop. This part's start. We're gonna stop at like the end of the array, and then we're gonna write plus plus, we're gonna go up by one. So that's just how a for loop works. Okay, so now we're gonna keep track of what character we're looking at. So what character is this right pointer pointing at? Well, it's pointing at B. So let's tell the computer to keep track of that. So I just did const char equals s, right? So whatever thing this pointer is pointing at, right? Whatever iteration, which right now it's 0, that's what's going to be the character. So then what we're going to do is we're going to actually push that up to the object, right? So then we can say, hey, if that character does not exist, right? Check if that character exists, right? If that character isn't in there, make it 0. So I'm going to do that. So that's what that means. And then add one to whatever. So, hey, if the character's in there, it's going to equal what the character is, right? So if B is already in there and there's one, it's going to equal B 2, right? If B is not already in there, make a B, make it equal 0, but then add one, so it would be 1. So that's how you're going to keep the track of the things. And then we're just going to move that pointer up. Okay. Um, so no, wait. We don't want to move the pointer up yet. I was gonna say that's weird. Yeah, so that's it. We're just grabbing it, okay? And then we're gonna have to check if there's more than two, right? So let's just do that with a while loop. Actually, I was using an if, but this is better. So we do this, and then we just say, so we're gonna keep track of also the left character as well here. So here we go. And it's the same method, right? You're gonna grab whatever iteration there, okay? And then we're basically saying, hey, so take it out of the count. So if we move this, right? If we see, okay, well, here there's three B's. So we're going down. All right, our size is 3, right? Our size is 3. And that's the biggest window. So let's move down one more. And oh no, we break our while loop. It's too big. It's bigger than 2. Okay, we'll take this and move this here, which is what this is. Okay. And also, oh no, that would be left plus plus. Sorry. So we're gonna left plus plus it. And then we're gonna take this. This right here is creating that variable. So we're saying, hey, memorize that this equals B, and then remove that B from our count. Okay, so remove B from our object. So our object knows, okay, right now there's only two B's again. Okay, so we're just going step by step here. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, hey, constantly keep track of the window size and the max one. So between results and the size of the current window. Because in this case, in this first test case, the ending was the result, right? The biggest was this, right? Right minus left plus 1. Okay. So that's that. And then we could just return result. And that's pretty much it. So we can submit that. Okay, and then we get it, and then we could submit it. And like I said, I just like this because instead of saying like, "Hey, get this weird character code," we're just saying, "Hey, whatever number you're or whatever letter you're pointing at, whatever iteration you're at." memorize that one. Okay, and then we can keep track of it here. So I'm not sure if this is like faster or what, but I just think that this is a little bit easier to read. Everybody has their opinions. But yeah, cool. I was at 100 the other day. Maybe I did something a little bit. So okay, interesting. So this one was 3 milliseconds. That one was 9. I wonder what my 3 milliseconds one was. Either way, it's fine. It's one iteration, right? It goes through in one pass. So that's kind of what matters. Let me go back to my code. But yeah, yeah. So we're just doing it that way instead of yeah. And this weird array thing threw me off as well. Like okay, 26 for each letter of the alphabet. So. I kind of like doing it this way. And then I feel like it explains sliding window really well. But that's pretty much it. And then you have a kind of a frequency counter going here. So frequency counter, sliding window, those are things that are always just gonna kind of repeat themselves. I've noticed in Elite code. That's it. Have a good one.